Yo, what's up, guys? In today's video, we got the main man himself, Andrew, who currently runs a lead gen, right? Lead gen, right?
We were lead gen, we're moving into the info space. Well, we already have info clients, so we're actually a small bit in transition at the moment, Farry bro. So you can just say lead gen for now.
Okay, cool. Lead gen slash info. That sounds good,
Yes,
right?
sir. It
Let's
does. It does.
go.
It
Let's
sound.
go.
It has a nice ring to it.
Of course, bro. So yeah, so basically I'm sure the people like to know about what it is that you're doing, what is your story in terms of how you've gotten to this point and how you're actively just building a business and doing what it is that you're doing and just painting a picture of who Andrew is and what Andrew's currently doing at this present moment in time.
For sure, brother. And first off, I do appreciate jumping on. It's always good we're reminiscing before we hit record. It's always really good to chat with you. So I was more than happy when you
Of
asked me
course.
to jump. But I suppose best thing to do is start from the very back. And please ignore I have water, I have a coffee, and I have a banana here as well. So I have a run to do in like an hour. So if people are wondering why I'm drinking so much and eating a banana, that's why. But we'll we'll strip it all back to the very bare bones. Again, thanks for the introduction. My name is Andrew. I am from a small city in Ireland called Kilkenny, which is about an hour away from the capital. Kind of grew up. I don't have one of these stories, Farry, where I was
Mhm.
born into a single parent household. I had no money, blah blah blah. I had a good childhood. There's no doubt about that. Parents had a good stable job. Everything else growing up was very big on sports, socializing, loved going to the gym, everything else in between. And how I kind of found this whole online space. It actually came through one of my friends, and I'm not sure if you know him, Evan Carroll. He jumped on a couple of the A players calls before, and
Mhm.
Evan is considered a complete expert in the space. His agency is doing about 400K per month at the moment. They're very big, so just met up with Evan one of the days, and I said, "What do you do, bro?" Because he was driving a nice car and he had good sunglasses on, and I said, "Bro, what do you do?" I said, "I know you do something online, but what is it?" So he introduced me to it, and he basically, bro, he gave me a mega file, and you'll laugh at this. He gave me a mega file, and it had Ty Lopez's 2016 SMMA course on it, and that was the first. That was the first course. That was the first course that I watched, and basically then after that I was hooked. My older brother was
Mhm.
actually in the room next to me here. He's actually busy making some content.
Yeah.
He started up his own agency, Farry, in like 2023. I was living away from home. I was in Valencia on Erasmus from college, and I was kind of just like looking into this online thing, and I said, be nice to make some money, live outside a nice place, be away from home, and kind of have that laptop lifestyle.
Yeah.
And basically started up my own agency then in February when I moved to Luxembourg. Yes, we're globe trotting around the place, so we're in Ireland, Spain, Luxembourg.
Yeah.
Started up when we were in Luxembourg, partnered with my brother then, and basically just started in the game, started eating shit. It's not easy at the very start. Signed on a few people, started getting proof of concept, and then kind of from there, fast forward 12 months, 13 months now, we're operational. Everything's going fantastic. We're in a really good spot at the moment. We are transitioning now our full business model into an info agency, consultancy, helping them with their kind of media buying, everything else in between, consultancy, ad creative strategy, you name it. So we've had some
Yeah.
fantastic results working with info products in the past 6 or 7 months. We kind of took them on and we're just testing the waters, getting ready for the big break, and now everything is starting, like the stars are starting to align, and it's going really well at the moment. Proof of concept is good. I know you bros out with your ops with everything. It takes time to
Yeah.
learn. It takes time to learn. You're in the trenches maybe 10, 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day,
Mhm.
it's a beautiful Friday. You can chill, you can have your drink, you can relax. But that's kind of where we're at the moment, living in sunny Marbella, now away from the family for the next 6 months. But that's kind of a long-winded answer. I tried to shorten it down as much as I could.
No, bro, that's perfect. That's perfect. And like throughout your journey, like how is transitioning from like, like environment to the online space been for you? Like I'm sure you see a lot of people crushing it, like your friend making 400K and that's like, wow, like you can make this kind of money when, like throughout your life you've just known that, like you need to get a job, you need to do XYZ, which is super straightforward. And like transitioning from that, like I'm sure it was not easy, like mentally for you.
No, and you're exactly right, Farry. It's one of those things, bro, where in Ireland specifically, it's probably the same in South Africa.
Hmm.
The definition of success on, let's say, from our parents' generation, for example, is you work hard in school, you go to college, you get a corporate job, you work your 9 to 5, you work your way up, you get a mortgage, you pay off your mortgage, and once that's done, and you have your kids, you have a successful life. And that worked
Hmm.
maybe 30, maybe that worked 30 years ago when prices of houses, rent, wages weren't as high. There was a good economic situation in the country, for example. But now it's like that shift in mindset. So like you're saying with Evan earns 400K a month. I'll never forget it for the rest as long as I live, because that figure to me now is
Hmm.
achievable. You know what I mean? It's achievable. You can see it with your own eyes. You can see it with people every single day that you interact with that are either at that number, greater than that number, or on their way to that. So it's like at the start, don't get me wrong, at the start, when you hear that money, the Irish person cannot comprehend that somebody's earning that much money every single month. You know, it's crazy. And when I was in the gym with a few of his, because Evan would be older than me, when I was in the
Yeah.
gym with a few of his friends from our local club, I remember they sat down and they asked me. They said, Andrew, how much is Evan earning a month? And I said, guys, I said I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know, but I said I would put a conservative figure on 150K per month. Conservative, and
Hmm.
they nearly spat out their drinks. They said, "What? How is that possible?" And these guys work in the banks, they work in their 9 to 5 job, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they just couldn't comprehend. They couldn't understand how that was possible. And I said, guys, I said, yeah, revenue sounds great. I said, but profit wise, they're like, what's he making profit wise? I said, well, put it this way. Conservative again, I would probably say 70, 80K a month profit. And again, they nearly died. But it's trying to comprehend that figure, and especially as like Irish people, we see it, and it's something I've been training my mind a lot recently. Is like, okay, you look at the price of something, or you look at what somebody's earning, and it's just like you have to get used to that being an achievable figure. It's not just a flash in the pan, or it's not something that's a top 1% person, because Evan is there 1%, 100%. But it's like
Yeah.
that is super achievable, and I feel like once you actually tell yourself that it's achievable, it can happen, you know.
True, true, agreed. And what do you think if you were to speak to your younger self like 5, 10 years ago, would you
Yeah.
think that you'd be in the same position that you are in right now, or would you not be able to imagine it?
Um, that's a very good question. I have always been a very entrepreneurial minded person. Um,
Hmm.
always since the age of like 10 or 11, I was always trying to find ways to make money. I remember when we were in primary school, probably like junior school or whatever that would be in South Africa.
Hmm.
I remember we had like a young entrepreneur competition, and that was like the best fun I've ever had in school. Like trying to sell goodie bags for €1.50 to people, and it was crazy. It was like your first taste of profit. You got like €2 of profit, and it was crazy. And it was like ever since then, bro, it was like I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It was just I did not know what field I would end up in. And to be perfectly honest with you, I never thought marketing would be something for me. I always thought that was a sleazy thing, a cheesy thing to do. I always wanted to start like a brand clothing company or find a gap in the market like everybody tries to do. But then marketing just seemed to find its way to me. You know, it's like quantum entanglement. Do you know what that kind of is? It's just you put yourself out there, something happens, and it's like, okay, this is actually calling me. So if long story short, if I could tell myself 10 years ago that I'd be doing this right now, probably not, but I had always known that I wanted to be my own boss. I never wanted to like work a 9 to 5, you know.
Agreed, agreed. I think there's a lot of parallels. Like also, for me that I found at least, like you spoke about like entrepreneurs day. Did you make any money? Did you make any money? Or
Oh, brother, that's actually a really good question. I think so. I think so.
Really?
I would like to think I would like to think we turned a profit because it was like a it was like a class wide thing. So there was like 30 of us that were like together like doing this. So we're split into different divisions. Like one was sales, one was like packaging and operations, and it was really cool if you look back on it. But I remember then when I was in transition year, maybe when I was 15 or 16, the same thing
Yeah.
happened again. There was an entrepreneur um opportunity when I was in transition year. So that's like the year after you've done your first state exams in Ireland. You get a year to kind of have fun, kind of do your own thing, do activities. It's a weird year. I can't explain it to anybody. It's basically just a quiet year. So that came up, and I decided to make gear bags. So like gear bags for sports, for the gym, etc., with the school logo on them. And then I was even thinking, I started pitching ideas to the other schools in the city. I was like, okay, can I do this for you guys? And I remember I was not expecting anything. There wasn't great profit margins on the ideas because I was buying them from the biggest manufacturer in Ireland. They don't do profit. They don't do bulk buying for teenagers. They want to make as much money as possible. But I remember even saying to myself, I made I think 400 euros of profit from selling like 50 or 60 gear bags, and that was insane to me. That was the first taste of, oh shit, I had to work out I had to work out my margins, I had to work out the cost of shipping, I had to put everything then into that price. So it was like I was understanding the logic behind, okay, this is what the shipping cost is per unit. This is what I have to do. These are my margins. This is my net margin. This is my growth. It was like it was just trying to comprehend that. But I remember I made money on that one. And I remember exactly what that money went to. That money went to gambling, that went to drinking with my friends, and it did not go back into the stock market. It went back into the publican's hand and into the casino, I think.
Wait, bro, you were allowed to do the casino at 15?
um it wasn't, how can I put it this way? It was probably just a walk in, say nothing, sit down and go again. But it was more give my it was more like give my older brother 20 euros, go in and do it, or it was buying a few scratch cards. That was probably the most of it. There was no like crazy poker or illegal games. Actually, to be honest, it was mostly just poker at my friend's house every Friday or every Saturday. Someone would bring the poker chips. Everyone would come, you'd spend 10 euros in per person. Winner could take home 80 or 90 euros at the end of the day. And it was, those are the days, brother. Those are the
So,
days. You reminisce on those days with your friends. It's like people tell you, oh, I miss those days. It's like, oh, I miss playing poker with the guys, or I miss going for drinks with the guys during COVID or things like this. And I said to the guys, I said, guys, do you actually miss that period of your life? Or do you miss like the idea of playing poker with the boys? I said, because we could literally just meet up tonight and play poker together. We're 22 years of age, we can just go. I said, or do you just miss being that carefree 16, 17 year old, just living your life? And the biggest worry you had was kind of who was going drinking, or who was texting you on Snapchat, or how many followers or how many likes you got in an Instagram post. But that's the kind of transition of life, you know what I mean? And that's something that I always like to think about as well.
true.
Because
And for
I,
you, what?
I'm I'm not sorry, bro. I'm not sure about you, but it's like with COVID in Ireland, it was like a lot of people really enjoyed it. They got to spend time with family. They got to grow closer with their family, with their close neighbors. And some people hated it, but I don't know for you, but COVID for me was like that awakening. I got really close with my brothers for the first time ever, etc. It's just like that period of your life was just, you were carefree.
True. How old were you like during that COVID time?
I had just turned, okay, so COVID-19 was 2020. I remember
Hmm.
because I was so disappointed. My 17th birthday was the 15th of March, and we went into
Hmm.
lockdown in Ireland on the 16th of March. And that was the
Oh.
day. So yeah, so St. Patrick's Day was the 17th of March, the big day in Ireland. The 16th was usually when I had my friends over to have a party and have some fun. And I remember we were like texting away. I said, okay, yeah, we're still on for today. Yeah, the 16th. And then everyone's parents started being like, nope, no, no, he can't come. Everyone's going to die if they go. You're going to catch COVID and you're fucked. You're dead. So I had just turned 17. So I was 16, just turned 17 one day. And then I literally, like, I was 19 by the time COVID was finished fully in Ireland. Like, it's crazy.
Crazy. Oh man, because we were basically like doing the same thing, which also now just makes me think like one of the things that like I face or that I notice on a daily basis is always like asking questions of saying, "Hey, how are you able to do lead gen marketing and do all these things while you're young?" And also like for us, like we're not like 30 or anything like that. We're still pretty young, and it's like asking the questions and saying, what do you think we or like let's say the people in our network specifically have that other people that look at it from the outside say they're so young, how are they possibly able to do such things like the things that we're actively doing, like building businesses online and actually creating value and things like that? How do you think the mind is it a mindset thing or is there something more to it from your perspective?
I think there's a couple of things to look at, and I love Alex Hormozio. I love Hormozio. I love everything he does. But there's one quote that I disagree with him on, like wholeheartedly. He says, "If you're 22 years of age and you're trying to do something, you're going to suck at it." And I very much disagree with that. I think maybe in his situation when he was 22, starting the gyms, like he didn't know what he was doing. But I think the biggest thing is two things: I think mindset and just determination as well. And I also think maybe the fact that we have an unfair advantage being in such a good networking group like A players. I think it's an unfair advantage because we have that network of people, we have older people to bounce ideas off of. But I think the two core things are determination in my side of things. It's like, okay, it's not sometimes what I wake up every morning kind of chasing. It's what I'm trying to run away from. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to be stuck in the matrix, if you call it the matrix. I like being my own boss. I like doing my things, as in you can live the laptop lifestyle, be abroad and do your things. But I think it's important, yeah, mindset and I think determination are super good. And I don't know about you, but it's just I feel like even when the days come where everything is going to shit, it's just like just still getting up and doing it as well. Because I think a lot of people our age scroll on TikTok, they doom scroll, they're always on Instagram, they've nothing really. I wouldn't say they don't have a purpose because I think that's very deep. It's just people will prefer to just have a very easy life. They'll choose the easy things. They won't do the hard exercise. They won't do the hard work. They'll just be happy enough to bide their way through college, get a nice cushy number in a job that they like. Maybe they probably don't even like, and then 30 or 40 years find themselves a wife, get kids, have a mortgage. I think it's just redefining our idea of what success is, and I think maybe you can touch on it a bit more, but that's my aspect of it.
Like what your idea of success is, which is such a good point because for me, I think similarly, like just having that idea of constantly asking like what is success to me and what does it mean to be successful. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've mentioned this, but my take on it is a bit different from what everyone else might say.
Mm-hmm.
But just me, it's just solely just focusing on creating value, like creating value and just solving problems. Like I think that's the number one thing. And also just to go back to what you were mentioning in terms of like how you started out your entrepreneurial journey. For me, it was pretty similar. I don't know if anyone knows this, but in South Africa, like I had a lollipop business. So funny story is, right, before the lollipop business, we had like Entrepreneurs Day, and
Mm-hmm.
this was the thing that like was so bad, bro. Like each time we had it twice, each time we had it, bro, like I lost money. Like bro, like we did not make any money. But looking back, that was the two times that has like really helped in terms of understanding what business is. Because the first time when we did Entrepreneurs Day, we literally spent like a lot of money, and our parents obviously chipped in and things like that. But the number one thing that led us to not make any money was simply because we were in the corner and everyone else was out in the field. So it was like no one even knew where we were. And also tying back, which is something that I realized now, like recently, which is most the most the thing that brought us business essentially was personal branding because a lot of people knew me as a person and they were like, hey, so where's like I see all these people, but where's Fari's thing? Like where is he at? And it's like, hey, like I'm bringing in like people that wanted to buy from me as a person And this is something that's praying pretty evident in, in terms of what it is that we're building. And I'm sure you can say the same, like your thoughts on personal branding and how that's helped you move the needle in terms of your business. I mean, has it really done anything for you, like in terms of lead gen? I know you transitioning over into info, but specifically for lead gen, has that played a role in terms of you getting more people on board or not?
That's a good question. And to be honest with you, it's not something that I prioritize for the first 9, 10 months. And
Hmm.
if you literally read any hyper successful person in our space, their biggest regret.
Hmm.
I was at a pardon me. I was at a mastermind 10 days ago. They literally
Hmm.
said, everybody said, someone asked them, what's your biggest regret in business? They said, not starting a personal brand earlier. So I said,
Hmm.
okay, for lead gen for local businesses, you don't really need a personal brand. Now, somebody can come in the comments, they can say, oh no, that's bullshit. I don't think you do, because they're not going to be looking at you as a person. They're just going to be looking at the value you can provide them and if you're going to actually solve their problems. But now, in terms of now, like the whole proper transition and putting the business to the forefront, people will buy from you if they know, like, and trust you. But I also think if you go one level deeper than that, people will buy from you if they just fuck with you simply. So if they like your content, if they like you as a person, they'll buy from you and they will pay that extra premium to work with you over somebody else. So, long story short, bro, personal brand wasn't a focus for us, but it is now, and it's a big thing. And I've been pushing it very much recently. I'm posting a lot more on YouTube. I'm posting a lot more on Instagram. I literally just checked. Ireland is the most toxic place ever.
Hmm.
I have gained, I think, 75 followers this month, but I've lost 30, 35, 36. So it's just like, but I like that. It's like, I think people I think people worry too much about what people will think if they check a story on Instagram and they're like, oh my God, let's say Farry, you put up Umbro, and you think somebody from home is going to look at that and they're going to replay it like 20 times and send it to all their friends. Like, oh my God, look at what he's doing. He's not doing this good. But realistically, nobody cares. And to be honest, I'm very happy that that people have unfollowed me. It just shows that I'm on the right path and I'm attracting then the people who genuinely will enjoy my content that I can push out. And I think my content, and you can probably agree or disagree with this, but I feel like a lot of people get personal brand mixed up. People think that a personal brand is flashing your fancy watches, driving the nice Lambo, fucking going to Dubai and putting up the pictures. But for me, the way that I'm positioning my personal brand is just value based. It's like, okay, yes, I'm extremely good at meta ads. I'm extremely good at, let's say, script writing for info businesses, stuff like that, for like, and creating winning creatives, finding a good organic strategy and building on that also. So that's what my content is pushing. My LinkedIn is always talking about value. It's giving people free tips, free advice, free videos, free resources. My Instagram is now pushing the same thing. So it's like, personal brand, everyone has their own personal take on it, but my take is focus on the one lane and you will attract the right people. One follower is better than 1,000 people who don't care about you. One real follower. 100 subscribers on YouTube is better than 100k followers on Instagram if they're all just idiots. Sorry, that's probably a bad way of putting it, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah. Like having what is the quote again? I'm sure you can get me on this. Having 1,000 true followers is better than having 100,000 followers that don't buy from you and don't engage with you. Because then
yeah,
it becomes, what's the point? I'm sure a lot of guys also in the space, and also that just makes me think of another question that I had. Like in terms of masterminds, you mentioned that you've attended masterminds, and how is that like played a role in terms of lead gen, in terms of your business, in terms of yourself as well? How important is mindset in terms of just going on masterminds, essentially?
this is the best book ever. And chapter
Bro, I have the
nine,
same book.
hold on, is
Hmm.
it chapter 9? I think it is, or it's chapter 7. It's chapter 7 is the power of the mastermind. So, actually, I've completely bottled this. I think it's chapter 10,
And
power
not
of the mastermind.
chapter
Yeah,
10.
chapter 10,
Hmm.
power of the mastermind. So, I think a mastermind is such a really good place to network, to understand what people are doing, and it's putting yourself in a room with highly successful people and getting to learn from the best at a very personal level. You get to speak to these people, you get to see where their faults were, and you get to kind of speed past and see what's actually working at the moment and how to implement that. So, in terms of lead gen, again, previously it hasn't been something. Last one was very good. It was kind of like putting the feelers out there, partnerships, networking, making sure people are aware of what we're doing now at the moment and what we're pushing and who we're working with and what results we're getting for them, because it's super important. Your network is your net worth. And I think a
Hmm.
mastermind, it's like everything, bro. It's like 1 + 1 = 3 at a mastermind. It's like that bit of the ether, that bit of kind of the higher power, the whatever you want to call it. There's something there to mastermind, or there's something there afterwards that it's like, okay, I know that I need to do this and I need to do this, but I know that if I put in this controllable and this controllable, something up here is going to make it happen, and that's super
Okay.
important. And I think a mastermind is, as a business owner, I feel like if you're not reinvesting everything into the business for the first couple of years and you're splurging money on kind of unnecessary things, for me, I would rather spend €1,000 on a mastermind than take out €1,000 in wages, to be honest, because that mastermind you can learn so much and it can be 100x the ROI. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
True, true.
Have you
And
been to
what?
one before, brother?
Yeah, yeah, I have actually. So with me, I'm gonna get into that just now. So one of the things, like for me, that I've realized, like mostly around here, especially, I was actually, I guess you could call it a mastermind today, like
Mm,
a few hours ago. It
let's
was
go.
a trucking and constructing, my mastermind sort of kind of exhibition, and I was just chatting to a lot of people, and it made me think in terms of a few things. Also for me, like what I do right now, like if I see a mastermind, like I don't even think twice about, like even if it's 1,000, just saying, hey, let me just sign up for this mastermind, because
Mm,
ultimately you gain a lot more in terms of intrinsic value, in terms of things that you can get in the long term, not just short term. It's like for a year, like a lot of people say, like I'm spending so much money on a mastermind, like what am I going to get out of it, which is kind of like having a mindset of saying, I want to get it today, like I want to get this instant gratification is what you say, and not delaying it in the sense of saying, hey, if you pay this 1,000, you meeting someone that's making 100K a month, who's ultimately connected with other people that's making 100 to 200 and even more a month, which is ultimately just going to give you more pipeline or even more value into the future, in terms of saying, hey, if he gets a project and he wants to put you on and he pays you 50K, for example, and ultimately just by simply paying that 1,000 to gain access, you literally get all of that. But it's a mindset of saying, hey, let me not do that. And I don't know, maybe it's does it also happen in Ireland in terms of people from the past that you may have been with, if you know what I mean?
I think it's a generational thing. I think our generation are
Mhm.
very much okay. If I put money into something, I better get something in return straight away. There's
Mhm.
no the delayed gratification. I think the um how can I put it? The what's the word I'm looking for, brother? Completely slipped my mind. But the dopamine. People just want a straight dopamine hit. They put something in, they get something out straight away, and that's not really how it goes. But yeah, I
Mhm.
completely agree with you. Like if I say to somebody, "Oh, I paid €1,000 for this mastermind," they said, "You're crazy. That's insane." And people then you're kind of like, "Oh, but would you mind giving me 20 quid there to go down and buy a few cans of beer?" And I'm kind of like, brother, there's two ways of looking at things. Like put that 20 quid in and invest it in yourself,
Course, of course, of course. And I mean, I'm sure you also have a view on this. There's just two main things that I wanna run through with you. I don't know. First thing, just running through in terms of saying, hey, um, in terms of school, because I know a lot of people in our space, especially in our network, don't necessarily go to school and also do business at the same time, or some have left or haven't gone yet. And I'm sure, like for you, there's a different set of mindset in terms of approaching school and also doing business. And for you, I'm sure you and I can both relate on this in terms of running a business at the same time as doing school. How is that affected how you see the world and also how you just interact with people in the online space? Does that give you a
Yeah.
new perspective? As in, does it add to your knowledge base or not?
I think what they teach us in university, I did business, I did international business. What they teach us in university is 0.01% of what you will ever learn in you learn by doing. You don't
Mhm,
learn by a textbook. The way that I look at it, brother, it's like somebody trying to teach me an entrepreneurship module in college. It's like, why are you teaching me entrepreneurship? Have you been an entrepreneur yourself, or did you just learn in a book the
mhm,
principles of entrepreneurship? So I think it's actually the opposite for me. I think what I learned in the online space and from doing it myself and running my own business, I was able to interact in a lot better light with my lecturers. I kind of could see, okay, this isn't valuable, but I'm going to ask them these questions just to see what they think.
mhm,
Pardon me. And in another sense, then just like networking with people in my class, having more confidence to speak up, having more confidence to stand up in front of a class and speak as well, with no problems. I think it teaches you a lot, but what they teach in college in terms of business is absolutely nothing compared to what there is in the real world.
mhm. 100%. And do you think for you personally, I know you're saying like it's not the same, but if you were to say it, does it add an unfair advantage to what you're doing or not at all
No,
compared to everyone
zero.
else?
No, zero.
Zero.
Genuinely, if you ask me, it's probably taken a bit away from me.
Hmm.
Due to the fact that split focus with uni, with finals, with everything, people were scaling their businesses. I was, I'm never going to say constrained, but realistically, there was a subconscious thing that I was like, okay, well, I am split focused. I'm not 100% into this. I have to do assignments. I have to do this. I have to do that. But
Hmm.
I do think it did take an edge off of me. And now, like, I can see my friends, our college results came out today. Everybody's happy. They're going out drinking, they're going partying, etc. For me, those college results, I actually completely forgot they were out today. Somebody said that to me. They're like, "Oh, how did you get on with your results?" And I said, results are out. Went and checked, and that was it. But to be honest with you, bro, it's probably taken a small bit away. But again, you can't change the past. You can only dictate your present and your future, and that's one thing that I have in control at the moment.
100%,
But
100%.
I think the
And
best thing. But
mhm,
even sorry, brother, even to interrupt. But like, how do you find it? I think that's the most important thing as well.
for me, for me,
Yeah.
for me, it's just a bit of a story. So for me, I'd be pushing like working hard in terms of school and things like that, and also on the business. But one of the things that I probably faced a lot more, like back in the beginning, was a lot of a lot of criticism, like in terms of saying, hey, like Fari's not serious, he's not doing XYZ, he's not focusing enough, he's not, he's not one of us, essentially. And it ended up getting me iced out in terms of a lot of school related things. Like a lot of people didn't mess with me because they were like, hey, he's not serious. I don't want to associate myself with them. But then over time, you just realize like now they're finished and it's like they have less opportunities and they're coming to me and they're saying, hey, like, can you help me get a job? Can you help me do XYZ? And I'm like, wait, but weren't you saying that I'm not serious about all these things and that I'm not taking action and being proactive in terms of getting assignments done and things like that? Of which is kind of put me off in terms of, like self-confidence in that sense. But you realize very quick and very fast that you're on different paths. And one of the things is I've been fortunate enough to have two, three people around that have been supportive like throughout the whole process. And what is to say that, hey, 20 people are casting stones at you, but you only have two, three people that are genuinely rooting for you and they understand your mission and what it is that you're building? Because ultimately, I'm just gonna, like, with the network and what it is that we're building, I ultimately just help those two, three people and everyone else that was like, hey, like, he's not serious, he's not doing all these things. Look at them now. Like, hey, bro, like, they finished and they're looking at me and they're like, "Hey, man, he's a failure, but look now who's asking for opportunities." I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, it's something you're not used to, and you're probably scared to say, "Hey, he's doing XYZ, he's doing more," and then you project you project a lot of that insecurity, if you will, onto someone else. But it's like, hey, we're all on this journey on of life, you know, we all have different paths, and understanding that and just being more thoughtful in terms of, you know, how you approach certain situations and things like that.
100%.
I think
I
it
think
goes a long way.
it does. And I noticed that as well in college. I didn't go out drinking at all this year. I didn't go to like events. I wasn't going to parties, and you start to like slip away very quickly. You start to lose. I wouldn't say the word relevance, but I had a good group of friends. I had a good kind of. I had a nice name around the college. People would know me, etc. But then it's like I stopped drinking, and very quickly people start to like lose interest in you. They don't want to talk to you. They're like, he's a bit strange. But
Mhm.
I think the best thing that you said there, and I have the exact same thing with three or four of my friends, brother. As Joey Diaz said, all you need is three bad motherfuckers, and you're gonna take over the world. So it's like that's all you need. And at the end of the day, all you actually need is four people to carry your coffin at the end of it, and that's it.
Course, bro, of course.
You know.
And now with our network in terms of how we met through A players and the people that are within A players, I mean, shout out to James for sure for
Mm,
connecting all of us. I think that, like you said in the beginning, that's our unfair advantage, and it's only going to scale into the future in terms of what it is that we're building. Because there's so many, like, just having that network, and I'm sure a lot of guys in the space can relate to say, hey, in the real world, like a lot of people don't get what we're doing, but if we go into the online space, it's somewhat of an escape, and we truly just get the mission that we're striving for and what it is that we're building for. And for me, it's helped a lot, you know, in terms of, you know, just getting to know you, getting to know everyone else in the space, because we all, at the end of the day, we're all just helping each other out. You know what I mean?
exactly. And that's the most important thing. It's like having that group of people that can kind of, I wouldn't say replace because nobody can ever replace your like your hometown friends, but having those
Hmm.
people who understand your situation that can help you in certain situations. And just have with A players specifically, it's like just having a really good, because the online space can be difficult and meeting the right people, and people will try and extract value from you. But with A players, it's just everybody has each other's, pardon me, everybody has each other's backs. And that's super important.
100%, 100%. And now just going into a bit more about how you actually building out from lead gen to transitioning to info. I don't
Yeah.
know. You could share as much as you want. You can, you know, just talk about that whole process in terms of the actual core business, how you've set up the business, and how you're setting that up into the future, and what maybe numbers you want to hit or whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I was just replying to a message there.
Mhm.
Okay, so the kind of shift and why we shifted. So basically, we partnered with Affinity Sales Training. They were good friends of ours in August of last year, and we kind of just said, we'll test it and see how this works. And to be honest, Farry, it's like I do so much kind of research in the background on how to improve my skills in terms of what I can bring to the world, what I can bring to other people, how I can help them to improve, and how I can realistically the reason that I set up the business and my favorite thing to do genuinely in the world is to actually give people value and help them. Like they're genuinely like if I'm having a bad day in the business, but I see one of my clients signs a new deal or they sign a new customer or something, that genuinely brings me joy. It's like, okay, that's fantastic. I've literally just helped this guy to maybe fucking be able to buy his kids something nice on a Friday evening, genuinely, and that's how it goes. But for me, I always thought that my talents from what I've been learning were kind of a bit held back from the local side of things because at local lead gen and appointment setting, they don't understand metrics, they don't understand script writing, they don't understand kind of like everything. They just see, okay, put up a picture, see how this works, and have a simple form. Whereas getting to work with the guys in the info space, getting to work with people like James and A players doing the ads and doing everything the funnel for them, it's a lot more enjoyable. You can speak more high level, they understand it, you can talk more intellectually, you can have those deeper conversations on strategy, you can have those deeper conversations on, okay, our hook rate is bad this week, okay, let's make a new set of ads, let's create some more content that does that, okay, our content and our engagement is starting to drop, why is this? It's like, okay, let's start to make some new creatives, let's start to get new hooks, let's start to do this. So that's kind of the reason why we moved into it. Our talents were kind of a small bit I never like saying it, but our talents were kind of a small bit wasted or left kind of 50%, and just trying to moving into the info, then it started to click, everything started to work well, and we've got some fantastic results. I suppose that answers the first part of the question. Kind of what we're looking at getting to is, I feel like it's like everybody, we're moving on to that 100K a month. That's kind of the next goal for us. We're in a really good place at the moment. We're starting to put all of our systems, and we're really building that. And what does that look like? That could just comes from, yourself with operations. It's myself and Liam, my brother, business partner. He's the CEO. He does sales. We're both on acquisition. I do the, let's say, service delivery ads. I do the client retention, everything else in between, operations as well. So it's fun. Like my days at start, I do mindset a lot. I do a lot of, let's say, working, building Notion, getting the CRM better for every single time, making iterations, making sure the offer looks good, content, pushing our content every single day, constantly in contact with our customers as well. So the day does kind of take up a lot of things, but in terms of like our operational side of things, it's like you have your website, you have your developers who do the website. We have a couple of guys doing like content for our YouTube, and stuff like that. But I think that kind of covers most of it. If there's anything that I haven't picked up on yet, please ask me.
Of course, of course. How do you find talent? Because now you're mentioning that you have a YouTube team, you have people that are doing website stuff. So how do you actively just find people that you connect with to work on
Mm.
you to work with you on projects?
Yeah, for sure. It's trust and network. Um,
Mhm.
I found the guy who can edit my YouTube videos. I found him through AST and through A Players. He worked with the guys full time. He's now as a freelancer, so I got a good relationship with him. I'm always making sure to, and that's the thing with me as well. I don't care when I come into a business, and if there's somebody who literally just mops the floor, or somebody who's a CEO, everybody is the same to me, and I make sure to treat them with the same respect. And I always gave Gohar really good respect, and to be fair to him, he always looks after me now as well in return. So it's just that give and take. It's that kind of cause and effect. You put something good out into the world, and it's going to come back at you. And then even for the, like, let's say the YouTube team, and getting somebody to develop a website, again, bro, it comes down to trust as well. It's finding that somebody just to who had done a couple of good landing pages for somebody else. I just hit him up. I said, look, I said, what can you do for me? Perfect. Put him in contact with another couple of the guys. And it's one of those things. It's like, if I want a complex website build, you'd be my go-to. If I want just a simple landing page or a simple funnel from somebody else, it's just literally like I can pay him $250, $300 for a quick freelance project, and that's it. Like,
100%, 100%. I agree. I agree. And I mean, that is that. I guess that's how you find talent. But for you, do you have any specific steps and procedures that you use internally that are super valuable in terms of what it is that you're building? Like ones that you can share? Like do you go through the process like me, just building out frameworks for literally almost everything, or do you just kind of just freestyle everything?
I think there's a small bit of both. And to be honest with you, it depends on the day. It depends on the day. It
Mhm,
depends on the week. It depends on the time of the day. Like there's days where I could be
mhm,
like, okay, I need to set up a load of Notion databases. I need to create something for
mhm.
somebody. I want to elevate their performance, or I need to go in and create some new automations in my CRM, or I need to go into Zapier and make some new apps to automate some other parts. So to be honest with you, it's probably a mix of both. I think you're the same. We're both young. We both have our spurts of energy. We're not these 30-year-olds who are kind of regimented every single hour of the day. Okay, I need this, need this, need this. It's like, okay, bro, like when you text me, can we push it 20 minutes? That was perfect for me. I got to sit down and meditate for 10 minutes and get a coffee into me. Now I'm absolutely wired. I'm delighted. I was so tired an hour ago. But I
Sure.
think it's a mix of both. It's freestyling, and it's also kind of having that kind of procedure in place as well. So I think a mix of both is always good, because that sporadic ADHD energy is always good to have every once in a while as well, to just pop shit out. But I think
Mhm.
what we're building on at the moment is an ecosystem model, and we're pushing it for ourselves, we're pushing it for our clients, and I think that it's something that everybody in the info space needs to absolutely get on ASAP. Not even an info bro, you should get onto it ASAP. So what's an ecosystem model? I keep seeing, and I'm not sure if you know Temple Nailer. Do you know
Yeah,
Temple
yeah,
Nailer? Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah, so there's guys like Temple Naylor and all these people who have this analogy and this kind of concept in their brain that if I have an organic strategy of gaining followers for my business, but if I use a paid strategy then to buy to like get followers and using ads and things to push people to my page, will that affect me? And it just goes to show that this model still hasn't been put into the mainstream yet. So just to break down like the ecosystem model, what we're bringing in. So it's like
Mhm.
there's this paid versus organic strategy that everyone thinks it's this is correct or this is correct. There's no in between. But the actual main thing is it's creating the mixture of both. So
Mhm.
what we do is you're talking in terms, I can say the ad side first. So the ad side first is everybody wants sales, everybody wants more community members, everybody wants more purchases for their business, everyone wants more clients, whatever way you want to spin it. We'll just put it that's it, right? But then how do you get those people? Because we're in a trust recession at the moment. Customer skepticism is at an all-time high. It's really hard for info product businesses at the moment to scale and get more customers because people don't trust them because they don't know what they're doing. They simply see an ad. So the ecosystem model would be okay, top of funnel is get people to, let's say, follow their page. Get people to follow their page, get into their ecosystem. Once they follow you on Instagram, they're reeled in. So there's touch point one. It takes about 17 touch points now for somebody to become a customer from cold to customer. Middle of funnel then. So this is the top of funnel can be either follow or do just straight cold purchase, buy from me, motherfucker, like let's go for it. Middle of funnel then is like the retarget. So
Mhm.
once they enter the ecosystem, once they follow your page, once they view your website, once they do one thing for your business, they're hooked, they're in there, they can't escape. So it's middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. It's very intentional. It's like, okay, I see that you follow my page. I'm giving you value here. I'm doing a webinar. I'm doing a giveaway. I'm giving away a free template. I'm giving away something. Fill in your details. Get a name, email, phone number, or simply, even more direct, just book a call and join my community. Bottom of funnel then is the same thing. It's intentional. It's like, okay, I know that you're looking at my stuff. I know you've been watching it a lot. I know you're doing this. I know you actually like me and trust me already. Book a call and buy. So that's that side. That grows your following, that gets you more customers, more revenue, that allows you to scale easier. Organic side of things, then what it does is it helps. So people are sick of posting endless content every single day, trying to find new concepts or trying to fucking copy Johnny next door who put up a nice reel there yesterday and done well. People are genuinely sick of it. So the ecosystem model makes it look 10 times easier. You have your ad side of things, you can do your creative strategy, which is something that we're building out as well. I'll touch on in a few minutes. With our creative strategy, they can get 24 to 36 ads from just one shoot in like the space of an hour of shooting. They get like 36 ads. With that, that can go into their content. So they have 36 pieces of content to use and they can use that as a flywheel, keep regurgitating. So the ecosystem is just in a whole, in an essence. Ecosystem is just paid, organic, put together, make it an ecosystem. Allows them to scale easier, quicker, faster, lesser headaches, not as much content, and just basically, bro, the reason that we set up this online business, the reason that these info product businesses, the reason that everybody sets up an online business is freedom, and people are still stuck in their business, and I'm guilty of it as well. Nobody's human. Everyone's human. Nobody's perfect. Stuck behind a laptop for 10 or 12 hours a day putting out fires. It's trying to find a way to scale easier, not harder.
True, true. I mean, how big do systems within your business play a role in that? Because I know you mentioned like working 10, 12 hours,
Mm.
but are you actively building out systems, and what are the most important systems and processes that you found to aid you in what it is that you're building?
Yeah, for sure. I think as well, like network plays a big part in this as well. And I think people are very quick to not ask for things and try and gatekeep secrets and stuff. I always ask if I see a nice if I see a nice template, if I see a nice SOP, if I see a nice software that somebody's using, I'm like, give that to me. I'm interested. Let me see what that is. So it's just like
Mhm.
that's one way of getting it. Another way is just researching as much as you can to like improve your newsletter flows. How do you get people to know, like, and trust you? Automations on your CRM side of things, Zapier, all that sort of stuff. It's just trying to make your life easier, just eliminating the smaller tasks and allowing you to focus on the bigger tasks. So it's probably like a two-pronged approach, bro. It just comes from actually spending time to build out the systems once. You do it once, you can replicate them for everybody else. And then it's just
Mhm.
like using your network and using your leverage. Like, bro, we jumped on a call like 5 months ago, and I asked you, "Oh, what
Yeah.
are you doing for ops? How are you doing operations? Who do you look at on YouTube? Who do you
Mhm.
follow? Do you have anything for me?
Mhm.
I can give you something in return." So just doing that as well. So I think it's not really a systemized approach. It's just like I
Mhm.
do have a system, but it's just a bit more different to everybody else.
Of course, of course. And how important is that to day-to-day operations?
How important is it to me to have day-to-day operations, or how important for our
Yeah.
business is it to have day-to-day operations?
How important are these systems in place on the day-to-day in your operations?
Super
Are they a
important.
core function?
I wouldn't say a core function, but it's like it just makes me not have to deal with a lot of the bullshit. Like there's
Mhm.
automated Google Drive creations, automated messages if we get new leads in the door. We've an automated AI appointment booking system for our clients.
Mhm.
Everything else in between. We're very fortunate as well. Like we know ourselves when we come into these info offers that these people have courses built out. They have the systems in place already. They just need somebody who's an expert in one field. Like we're not going to be coming into an info product offer and be like, yeah, we'll build out your whole community. We're going to completely change your business. Every single bit of systems you have is wrong. We're going to get rid of that. Bro, any competent business, like you want to work with the best in the business, any of these competent businesses will have all of this in place already. So it's like, how can we come in and give our expertise in terms of the meta ad side of things? How can we give our consultancy on the operations? How can things work a bit more fluidly? So I think that it's not a core function, but having a high level understanding of it and being able
Mhm.
to give advice on it to these higher level people as well is super important. I think now you can correct me if I'm wrong and you can be like, that's such a terrible answer, but that's my opinion. And there's no point in lying because if you want to work with the best, they're going to have the best systems there already. You can come in and bring your expertise.
True, true. And how important is focus in terms of
Mm,
just dialing in for you? In terms of,
mm.
do you work in a specific niche or do you work with any type of info business? And how important is focus or niche selection in that?
Yeah, I think niche
Like,
selection is super important.
mhm.
In every aspect. It doesn't matter what business model that you're working with. I think actually picking a niche is so important
Mhm.
because I love the analogy, a jack of all trades is a master of none, and it's
Mhm.
so true. If you're expendable, it comes down to your personal brand as well, bro. It's like
Mhm.
if you want to be perceived as that the ads guy. It's like, what are you the
Mhm.
ads guy for? Are you the ads guy for
Mhm.
info products? Are you the ads guy for local businesses? Or are you the ads guy for like anybody that you can pick up? And a lot of people fall into that trap. They'll take money from everybody and be like, okay, oh yeah, look at my bank account. I'm earning 15, 16K a month, but I'm working in 20 different niches. Number one, that puts
Mhm.
operational strain on your business. That puts mind strain on your business, on yourself, because you have to learn a new industry every single time. But to put it up, we're working with the info businesses. Look, I will never come into a business and pitch them on a service that I can't give them. So, for example, you know yourself, there's a lot of trading info products. There's a lot of other bad, like let's say non-regulatory info products. So we would focus mainly with like sales training organizations, education businesses, network communities, things like that. They'd be our ICP at the moment. That's what we're working with now and what we want to be working with as well in the future. So it's actually selling to things that we know we can do meta ads for because there's no point taking money off somebody. It's completely non-ethical to take money off somebody if you know that you can't do a good service for them.
True. And provide the most amount of value for them. I mean, working in 20 different niches, I mean, you don't get to systemize and how do you even systemize and template things if you're working, say, for example, you're working in the dental industry and you need your teeth, you no no no. Rephrase that, my bad. Let's say you're a person and you need to get your gums done. You can go to the dentist, someone that, does everything from, hey, they get your teeth whitened, they do all of these, or you go to a periodontist who specifically works with dental oral disease and gums and gum disease and things like that. And it's something that they work with every single day. Automatically, who are you going to go for? Who are you going to trust more in order to solve your specific problem?
Exactly. Bro. It's like if you go to a doctor. Your parents trust the doctor because the doctor went to college and he studied this exact thing. He does it every single day, inside out, compared to I'll just go to a physio and maybe he might know what's wrong with me, but I know he
Mhm.
hasn't really done it. He's maybe dabbled in it before. So it's actually
Mhm.
like it's that thing that Sam Ovens talks about as well. It's like, who are you going to trust? The person that does it inside out, day in, day out, and knows the industry straight up. You shut up and listen to this person. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or somebody with €0 in your bank account. If you go to a doctor, you shut up and you listen to the doctor. Whereas if you go to just, let's say, a hardware store, the person who's serving you in the hardware store, they know about a lot of different hardware things. It's like they're not a master of one thing. They have like 6 or 7 different branches that they can talk about. And that's probably a terrible analogy, but you know what I'm saying. It's backing up what you're saying basically.
Of course, of course. You actually just gave me an idea, and this might sound like a dumb idea, but I'm just
Mm.
gonna say it anyways. Imagine starting a info product specifically on hammers, like being the number one guy in the world, but specifically talking about different types of hammers,
Mm.
hammers or screwdrivers or just tools, bro. Just being the best, bro. I'm sure that would crush it, bro.
There's an info product in Ireland. There's two actually that I know. There's
Mhm.
two info products. So one in Ireland is for knitting, like for old
Mhm.
grannies, like how to knit. That makes like
Mhm.
30 or 40 bags a month. It's insane. Like the
Yeah.
master of knitting. And then there's also one that earns like 300K a month. It's two brothers and they basically
Mhm.
teach, there's an info product for how to teach farmers how to gain muscle while working on a farm or while being in a tractor all
What?
day. It's crazy. It's like what you said. It's like it's so
Mhm.
obscure. It's like having knowledge on hammers. It's so niched down
Mhm.
in a niche that it's like if somebody wants to, if they're a farmer and they're like, oh shit, I need to lose weight, but it's like silage season, I need to be in my tractor 12 hours a day. And they see
Mhm.
these two guys who have like 200K followers on Instagram literally saying, I help farmers who are sitting in tractors all day lose weight. It's like, fuck, this is literally exactly who I need to speak to. It's crazy.
Bro, and even today, when I was going to the exhibition that I went to today, I bumped into a store where they were basically building out a CRM slash project management tool specifically for people in the construction business for
Hmm.
building houses. And I was like, that is so wild. And they're crushing it, bro. They're crushing it. And I heard that they had like a couple customers in like Tanzania and
Hmm.
a few other African countries. And I was like, that is so niche, like saying, hey, we're building a project management tool specifically for people that are developing houses. And that's like, hey, if they can do that, bro, like you can literally niche down. And that's going to be the thing that's going to differentiate in terms of what it is that you're building at. And that's something that we're also actively just implementing on a day-to-day basis because I'm sure in the beginning, I'm sure like when you were starting out, and this quote me if I'm wrong, when you were starting out, what was the one thing that bridged the trust gap in terms of what you're doing now? Because I'm sure for now, like getting clients, you don't necessarily have to say, "Hey, we've done X, Y, Z," or you don't have to pull out as much credibility now than you did before. And now I'm just asking, what was the one thing that got you that credibility in the beginning
Yeah, I
for people
think
to go? Mhm.
I still think that credibility is important. I think it's always
Mhm.
good to have that kind of the notches on your belt. Okay, yes, I'm working with Europe's largest sales training organization on a daily basis. We got XYZ results for them. I'm also working with
Mhm.
Europe's top networking group as well. We're getting XYZ results for them. It just like
Mhm.
adds that kind of bit of authority to you, I think, which is good. But
Mhm.
how did we get kind of the first few clients in the door? Honesty, I think number one. I'm a very
Mhm.
honest and upfront person. I'd never, like I said, I've probably said it a few times. I'll never pitch somebody something that I can't actually deliver on. That's the last thing that I'll ever do to somebody. I will never charge somebody a price that is out of their reach or that I think is unfair to them. number two. And just number three, it's actually just doing good business. And I think that people forget about that as well when they come into the online space. Like, okay, yeah, I can just sign up people and then I can just stay signing people and forget about delivering the service. But my main thing was service delivery. Get your first 3 or 4 clients in the door. Service delivery, service delivery, service delivery. Get testimonials, get case studies, get everything. Be a good person and you'll get good stuff in return. You put good energy out into the universe, you're going to get good energy back.
100%. And have you ever been what is the word? Have you ever been I don't want to say cheated, but have you ever been, what is it, scammed in the business world? Like someone has screwed you over? Yeah, that's the word. Has anyone
Um,
screwed you over?
Yeah, in terms of like people just breaching contract and not talking to you again, yeah, that's happened twice, I think, to us now. It's just, but I feel like it's one of these things. It's like doing good business. We always held up our end of the bargain. People are just impatient and they're just, I don't know, I'd never say bad, but it's, um, put it this way, there's no point in really dealing in a court battle with them over a couple of K. You know what I mean? It's like you're just gonna be caught up in illegal shit, and that's the last thing I ever want to do. I just want to do good business, and I feel like, Farry, it's like people who cheat and people who scam are the worst kind of people. Like, it's just instant karma in the world, and I know for a fact that the fact that these people left was probably a good sign for our business. It allowed us to grow. It allowed us to learn lessons that we won't do the next time as well, you know? So it's like every cloud has a silver lining. I don't really look at it as a negative thing that they left. It's like, okay, this person clearly didn't value our service, number one. And number two, they clearly weren't the person that they said they were, because these guys, for example, were saying that they were the top X-rated company in X-rated area, and they left after 3 weeks. It's kind of just like,
Is
you
it
know.
is that true? I mean, it's also happened to us like multiple times. But in terms of a mindset shift, how does that change? Does it change your approach in terms of vetting people, or does it not for you?
The way that I look at it is, and everybody has it as well, with no shows, with people who don't close, with people who are just pure price oriented. It's like, instead of it being like, I know when I jump on a call with somebody, I can tell if I can help them straight away. If I can't help them, I'm very upfront and honest with them that I can't. I'll try and maybe even get them on a consultancy thing just to help them out. But I think my mindset on it is, okay, this person didn't show. Okay, that's disrespectful, number one. They could have just been like, okay, I'm not interested. But I think a lot of people are too nice nowadays, or too afraid to say that. But it's like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That person no showed. They probably would have been a nightmare to work with if they didn't bother showing up to your first meeting with each other. So I think that's a good mindset shift to have as well. It's like, okay, these people are in need of my service. I know that my service can help them. I can sleep better at night knowing that the people who I have on are good people and we're genuinely doing a fantastic job for them.
100%. And challenges that you have had. I'm sure there's a number of challenges that you've had
Mm.
in terms of the business, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's people orientated or just understanding or personal self in terms of mindset. Are there any challenges that you faced while building your business and now transitioning over into info?
Oh, 100%. I feel like there's so many mistakes that you make. There's so many problems that you jump into. There's probably a problem every single day, but it's
Mhm.
like the way they look at it is, and Evan and his business partner always said this as well. It's like, I like when a problem comes up in the business. I do, because it gives me two
Mhm.
things. I can get to learn how to solve the problem. It gives me
Mhm.
purpose. And number two, then once I solve it once, I'll be able to solve it for eternity. And it's like I'm just building my skills. But I think problems wise, it's just like systems breaking, fucking something imploding out of nowhere, ad account getting disabled out of nowhere. It's just like, what the fuck, you know? So like, there's, there's stuff, like there's stuff every single day. It's just how you actually do it. And I feel like I'm a very proactive person. If something happens, I jump onto it straight away. I'm not one of these people who like shies away for like a few hours or tries to hide behind it or turn off my phone. If something happens, I'm onto that shit quick, and I'm not, and I don't stop until it's finished. Like,
100%. And how important is asking the right questions to solve problems for you? Do you think about that or not?
not really. I think not being afraid to be like, to own it as well. So it's like, if you fuck up, it's like, okay, I own that shit. Like, funny story, for one of our info clients, we ran the ads for them and they were up a while, new creatives, new everything. We are looking forward to it. And I get a video from one of the guys being like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, what do you mean? Everything's working fine. I was in the gym, and he goes, why is there clown music on our videos? And I was like, what the fuck are you on about? I was like, no, there's not. Like, he goes, yes, there is. So I had to run home from the gym. I went into Meta, checked everything. I was like, no, I turned off all those bullshit Advantage Plus fucking stuff.
Mhm.
But it turns out music was still left on. I don't know why. It was in an other category. So I was like,
Mhm.
shit. So like that's what you're saying, like owning it. I rang the guys. I said, look, I said, you have every right to be pissed off. I said, look, I fucked up. That's on me. I said, I don't want you reflecting my business partner. That's not him. That's me. I said, if you guys choose not to work with us, I said, I completely understand. I would be pissed off if I were you as well. But I said, if this happens once, it's not going to happen again. And that was 10 months ago. And it's been just a fantastic journey ever since. But asking the right questions is okay. Something's wrong. Okay, what do you want changed? They'll give you a vague enough answer, but it's like I can't help until I know exactly what needs to be changed, and then just
Mhm.
reiterating from there. But not to blow any smoke or anything, but there's never really any deep level problems. It's just like, okay, this word or this copy needs to be changed a small bit. There's never like, this is terrible, I need everything thrown out, I need everything changed again. We've been very lucky with the fact that the in-depth knowledge and the in-depth research and study that I do whenever we take on a new client, it's taking that extra day or 2 days, but it's just making sure that we're prepared then for the long run, because there's a very, very, very rare instance where our ads don't hit straight away. And
Mhm.
we're very fortunate that we do find winning ads very quickly. We do find ads that work very well in the market, and it just comes down to research and asking the right questions at the start.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Interesting. Interesting. No, I love that. I love that. Is there anything that comes top of mind for you?
In terms of which, bro?
Anything that comes top of mind?
Problems wise, ads wise.
Both. Go for it, bro.
Mm, I'm not really sure on the question. I'm just going to ask you a deeper question. Give me
All
something more.
right.
Give me something a bit deeper, and we can talk.
Okay, cool. In terms of setting up, when was there ever a time where you set up an ad creative?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you're talking about the clown music, but is that
Mm.
the worst case scenario that you've ever had, or has they been worse?
There was one instance where we entered a market
Mm-hmm.
and we had winning creatives in that same market in a different area, and we moved into that
Mm-hmm.
area and we said, okay, gonna rinse and repeat. This process works every single time, and
Mm-hmm.
I just remember we got nothing, like nothing for like 2 weeks. And bro, I literally created probably 100 different ads. I was testing everything,
Mm-hmm.
pumping everything that I had in my locker. I had everything, all the months of research, everything I cooked, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing came out. So clown music and that are probably the two biggest things that I learned. But
Mm-hmm.
the biggest lesson I learned from that was what works in one place won't necessarily work in another. It might work for five or six, but there's no one size fits all for absolutely everybody. And I think a lot of marketers and a lot of companies and agencies um overlook this a lot. They just find one template that works and they try and rinse and repeat that template, and they just end up burning out because they don't do that research. They don't really understand what's going on. They don't take that time, and it's just like, okay, well, they're one trick ponies. If this doesn't work, then I'm fucked. You know. Whereas with me, it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I find five or six concepts that work. I find 4 or 5 scripts that work, and I'm like, okay, work with these. And then it's like, find what wins. If we have a winning hook, if there's a winning style of the creative, if there's a winning angle on the creative, if there's a winning word, if there's a winning hook or a CTA or an offer that works, it's like, okay, we will literally just get those, reiterate them back into the other copies, and keep spinning around until we find an actual winning creative of like 5 components, then working from there then.
Cool. And how important is testing in terms of building out ad creatives?
What a question. This is beautiful. How important is testing? One of my best mates, and Sledden, if he's watching this, glad.
Mhm.
He has an absolute, he's an A players as well. He's got a fantastic business,
Mhm.
like a fantastic business. His ads are
Mhm.
crushing it, bro. His scale to like 120K a month. He is cooking.
Mhm.
And he's kind of asked me, like, check out my ad account, have a look and see what you do. And he was sitting on our balcony there in Marbella last week, and I was like to him, I said, bro, show me your ad account quick. Now this
Mm-hmm.
guy's probably spending maybe 20, 30K a month on ads. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, brother, I said, where's the testing? He goes, what do you mean testing? I said, brother, where is your I said, where is your testing campaign? I said, and where are your testing hooks? Where are your testing copies, creatives? He goes, what do you mean? I said, bro, I said, has your agency that he's working with, he's not working with us, because fuck him. Agency, his agency, he's paying them good money, more than what we would charge, and they don't test. They just put up his creatives that he puts up and they don't do anything. So they don't know what's going on. So, long story short, how important is testing? Testing is literally the most important thing you can do for your ad account. If you're an info product business, if you're a local business, if you're an agency watching this, literally, like, I'm not an expert. Like, please put this in big, bold writing, like, over my face. I am not an expert. I'm never claiming to be an expert. But from everything that I've researched, the hundreds of hours, the hundreds of the tens of books, the hundreds of pages of notes I've taken, the single most important thing that I preach is testing, because how are you meant to know, Farry, what's going to work if you don't test? It is literally like throwing fucking spaghetti on the wall and hoping that it sticks. And if it doesn't stick, you're shit. You're fucked. Whereas for us, and this is where I can talk about our creative strategy. Our
Mm-hmm.
creative strategy is designed solely for the purpose of testing and finding winners. So it's like what we do is
Mm-hmm.
6 hooks, 7 hooks, how many ever hooks you want, one main
Mm-hmm.
body, 2 different CTAs, 2 offer stacks, and then that's 36 to 24 to 48 ads is what you're going to get from that. So it's like, okay, what do you do? Test one is hooks. So you do hook one, blah, 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 hook one to whatever, main body one, offer one, CTA one. You find what the winning hook is. Then it's like, okay, hook three one. So now it's okay, we've hook three, that's the winner. We do hook three with main body, with CTA two, with offer one. Then we see if that works. Okay, that didn't work. Let's do hook three, main body, CTA one, hook two. See if that
Mm-hmm.
works. So it's just, you know what I'm saying? There's like, we can
Yeah.
see, we find one winner, we take that winner, we have that. Then we test another part of the ad, we test another part of the script. Okay, that's going to be the winning part of this part of the script. Then you move to your CTA, what's going to be our winning CTA. And from there, then, Farry, it's like, instead of, let's say, for example, Sean's business, where it's like, or just, let's say, Dave's business down the road as well,
Yeah.
if they just throw up 5 ads and there's nothing, there's no comparison between them, or there's no test between them, if they're just 5 separate ads, how are you meant to know what's working, or how are you meant to know what part of the ad is working and how to iterate and create better on that? So that's the most important part, and that's why our creative strategy and why our testing is so good. And thank you for asking me that question, because that is the perfect question. Like,
Bro, and what actually for you, like what KPIs do you use specifically to know when an ad creative or when the testing is good? I mean, what is that the right way to phrase it, or
yeah,
when you have a
so
window?
yeah, so like, I feel like some people will look extremely hard into data. I look into data, but I like saying, to make data driven decisions, it is data driven. What I focus mostly on is obviously the most important, which is like your cost per purchase or cost per form submission or cost per qualified lead. That's kind of obviously super important. But also what's really important as well, especially when you're testing hooks and you're testing offers, is your hook rate. So what percentage of people stay watching your ad after the first 3 seconds? So your hook is typically the first 3 seconds of your ad. How many people stay and watch afterwards? Because realistically, bro, there's a big difference between if you have a 3% hook rate and a 33% hook rate. You have 11 times the amount of people that will stay and actually hear you out. So that's going to increase your conversion rate exponentially. So I
Of
think
course.
that's super important. I think CTR as well is really good as well if you're running to a landing page, to see like what your conversions are like off that. So it's like, okay, we had a 3% CTR. That's actually a very healthy one compared to if we had a 0.5. It's just like seeing what that works. I'm not big on cost per click. I think a CPM is very important, but it's not a great measure, because CPMs are increasing in the industry, because it's a matter of, bro, if you're targeting the whole of the United States, for example, that's 365 million people. Your CPM is going to be higher than if you're targeting a specific city or a specific area, because it's a lot more broad. It's a bit more difficult for Meta to find the winning people that they want to target. So I think in terms of that, they're the most important ones that we focus on. There's probably going to be somebody who's listening to this that says, "Oh no, he's wrong. There's some other things," but it's like what I say. Everybody has their own formula. Everybody has their own way of looking at things, and that's just what we have found to work. And everything else is kind of just like, it's nice to have. It's not nice. It's nice to know and not nice to have. Like,
Agreed. Agreed. And for you, before when you were running meta ads, were you running specifically to landing pages to a form submission, or how was the funnel process looking like?
Um, so I've got a little hypothesis on this, and
Mhm,
people will disagree on me, but I am a lead form over landing page man 10 days out of 10.
mhm,
Now, speaking of that, with our ads for our own business, which is going to sound extremely
mhm,
hypocritical,
mhm,
we were running lead forms, worked really well. I now want to test what a landing page will look like, just do the split test, just for
mhm,
my own business, because I'm an extremely practice what you preach type of person. And it's like, okay, if I say that lead forms work, I want to see if lead forms will work for our business. But if I'm shitting on landing pages, I'm like, at least I want to give it a try to see if it will work. So we're actually going to be testing landing pages for our business, which is funny. But
mhm,
I like lead forms. And reason being
mhm,
why I like lead forms, and especially for local side of things, so it's going to be different for info. But in the local
mhm,
side of things, which I can give you insights on, people don't trust leaving Meta to go to an external landing page. There's too much scams, there's too much skepticism out there. So people aren't as they aren't as willing to give you their information in an external website than they would be in like a Meta native lead form.
mhm,
Even if it's the same information, they're still a bit skeptical. Whereas I have
mhm,
found, and we probably generate about overall in our business, we probably generate about 800, 900 leads per month for some of our clients. But in
mhm,
like the local space people that we still have, they're all lead form. They're all just native lead form, and cost per lead is like twice the it's probably 3x lower than the industry average in all of our clients' accounts, which is great.
mhm,
And I think it's just showing that people feel a bit more safe just staying on Meta, filling out a form, or staying on
mhm,
Instagram, filling out a form, and then just jumping back off. That's my opinion on it.
mhm.
You know, but there are people who are diehards. There are people who are like, no, you need a landing page, or no, it's only lead forms. I actually genuinely want to test what a landing page will look like for our business.
Okay. And with those lead forms, how do you normally do you set it up, or do you have them set it up and then you just run meta ads to them?
No, we do all the back end setups for all of our clients, especially moving in with info as well. I think it's super important. A lot of people don't actually understand how to set up a meta ad account properly, and it can lead to bans, disablements. It can lead to a lot of messy stuff, different conversions, wrong conversion types. So, like, we come in, we get their logins, we'd create the page. If they have the page already, fantastic. We'd do up the ad account, we'd make the business portfolio, we'd go in, we'd do the data sets, connect that up to their pixel on their website, have all that sort of stuff, do up the lead form, do up everything else in between, do their audiences, do all the testing, etc., etc. We do all of that on our side, and then of course do like the integrations onto our CRM, do all the automations on that side of things, have everything hooked up nicely, ready to run. But again, it just does depend on the business. Some will have their own CRM systems already in place. Some will want a CRM system. So it just comes down to it. But we do handle all that sort of thing as well.
Agreed, agreed. And one thing that I just want to jump back on in terms of testing, I know from what we do, we normally just test for a couple days, let's say a week, 5 days, to see how
Mm.
the ad creative is doing. For you, do you have a specific timeline, or how do you go about in terms of testing your
It
time
depends.
frame?
It depends on budget, and it depends on who you listen to. So my mentor would have always said
Mhm,
37, 3 to 5 days. So 72 to what's that, 90, no, 72 to like 110 hours, whatever that is. So three to
mhm,
five days, 120 hours, sorry. Um,
mhm,
so it just depends, but it depends on the budget. If you're using €5 a day, you might need fucking 10 days to see what works because you're only putting in $50. Whereas if you're spending
mhm.
500 buck a day, you could find what works in 48 to 72 hours, you know, which is completely relevant. So I always like to say about 5 days, always is kind of like a nice sample size, regardless of what you're running. If it's anywhere between 15 and 50 buck a day, kind of 5 days is a nice sample size. You'll get about 10,000 people. You'll probably see kind of what's working in the market, what hook rate is working, what your CPL is, start to cut off what's not, etc., etc.
Right. And what's the average like in terms of, let's say you're setting up a meta ad account, what would be the benchmarks or the KPIs that you would set up for in terms of your CTR, CPM as well, and also your CLP, right? Is it cost
Cost
per
per lead
lead?
or cost per purchase.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
depends, bro. It depends. Genuinely, I'd love to be able to give you like a definite answer, but people who try and say, yeah, industry wide, blah 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 blah, it depends on the industry.
Hmm.
For example, I think what are nice benchmarks, just if I can give an overall sense, anything CTR wise, anything above kind of 1.5%, people are say is okay, is acceptable. Some people say over 2%. Man, it depends who you listen to. What I like to think is I will always say, okay, let's say the CTR is 3%. It's hard to get like
Hmm.
a good CTR nowadays, but say
Hmm.
CTR 3%, that's the industry benchmark. I'll always say, okay, if I can get 3.2, that's my KPI benchmark that I wanted. I want to be better than that. If the cost per lead, for example, is $50, let's say in one industry, I'm always going to set it in my KPI trackers to about 25 to 30 because I know we can get that with our creatives and stuff. And then of course,
Hmm.
like with your CPMs, it can be anywhere from $8 to $20. I'll always say, okay, if we can get in between 12 and 15, we're doing well. Or if even below, I'll always say maybe even fucking $10. So it does depend. I genuinely can't give you a proper answer on that.
Okay, okay. And how important is tuning out noise? I mean, there's so many people that talk about running meta ads, running ads, and things like
Mm.
that. But how important has it been for you to just tune out the noise and tune out all the thoughts of saying, "Hey, maybe this is working for someone else. Get let me do that." Basically, shiny object syndrome in
Mm.
terms of that.
Yeah,
How important has that been for you?
massive. It's the woman in the red dress. It's the greener
Hmm.
pastures. It's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I
Hmm.
think as well, especially, it's not even like what's working for some people. It's seeing people winning or seeing people what they're putting up online, and it's all a facade. At the end of the day, it's like for example, like I'd be talking to guys and I'd see that they're putting up these wins on their LinkedIn or on their Instagram. I'm like, geez, bro, you're crushing it. He goes, no, I'm literally at rock bottom. That was like a win from 2 months ago that I'm just trying to like push. It's like it's just like genuinely, it just puts back into perspective. It's like if you actually take what you see on social media at face value and take what people are telling you at face value and not actually do your own research into it, it can genuinely demoralize you, number one, and absolutely ruin you, number two, because you're just getting imposter syndrome. You'll feel like, oh shit, everyone else is doing way better than me. But it's just like, I think the main thing that I've been working on the past couple of months and I've probably done very good in is staying in my own lane. It's you
Hmm.
versus you. It's just waking up and trying to win the day every day and just kind of not focusing. Like if somebody puts a pick up and they're in a Rari, that's absolutely fine by me. Like I'm happy enough to do my own shit, like, you know. Because at the end of the day, Farry, it comes down to what you define as success. And what is success to me? Some guys want to be living in Saint Tropez and driving their Raris and having their Patek Philippe's and all this. For me, brother, what do I want? I want to have a nice house in my hometown, have my kids raised in an Irish school, in Irish customs, grow up playing sports that I did. I want to have a fucking nice big lawn that I can cut every single weekend and have it done nicely. I'm going to buy a proper like golf course spec lawnmower that I could do all the patterns and everything on the grass. That's my favorite thing ever. And have an outdoor barbecue to grill my steaks on every single day. And that's what makes me happy and have my kids and have a happy wife.
True, bro. And so many people say, "Hey, you need to have a Rari and all those kinds of things to be successful." But look at you, bro. Like that is your definition of success, and you're working towards that. And I appreciate that, and I also respect that a lot. To say that, hey, you're coming out there, you're in this online space, but your goal isn't necessarily to buy Patek Philippe, although it would be nice.
Mm,
But for you,
fuck it
bro,
would.
like it's.
Of course it would. Of course it would. There's no denying that it wouldn't. If I could come on and say, I don't give a shit about that, brother, I'd love to have a Rari, but it's like it's not my definition of success, like.
Of course, bro. That's not what drives you every single day. No.
Exactly. No, it's just the sim. It's a simplicity of life. It's like I want to find my partner. I want to find the woman for my kids. I want to find my kids' mother. I want to have that money that I could put into buying my dream home, buying that dream lawnmower and that dream outdoor barbecue. Like that's just it, really. Like, you know, genuinely, it's super simple.
Agreed, agreed. And into the future, is there anything that you want to just like touch on just to say to kind of wrap it up, I guess, to say is there anything into the future that you're looking to scale to do in terms of your personal life, into the business, what you want to grow? Are there things that you're actively thinking about that you want to change in terms of scaling wise and also just personal growth and mindset that you have in mind?
Yeah, I think myself and Liam are very hard on ourselves. I think we try and think that you have to be putting in maximal. You do have to put in maximal effort every day, but I think that we try and grow our business on hard mode. We don't really. We've ever since we've come out to Marbella, it's been different. We're starting to network a lot more, put ourselves in the right circles, getting partnerships set up and everything. Because if you look at the most successful people, a lot of people didn't like. You see cold outreach. You get to 10K doing cold outreach. You get referrals then the whole way through. Everybody who's successful will say they grew a lot off referrals. Some people grew off cold outreach, is fantastic, but the majority have grown and scaled off referrals. So that's one thing that we're growing big on. Is just trying to not be as hard on ourselves. And I think the biggest thing is, I literally have a quote here from Sam Ovens. I'm just going to read it out. It doesn't matter
Read
what
it.
is it doesn't matter what is true, only what you believe is true, because with work that will become true. So it's just every single day. I think it's a Kaizen approach. It's getting better every single second of the day, thinking positive, because somebody has to be the happiest person on earth, and I know that you're an extremely happy guy. So just me, it's just me versus me, and it's that with everybody in life. It's you versus you, waking up every day and making that conscious choice of, okay, I can let my thoughts get me down, but I could also let my thoughts bring me up. And that's one thing, especially since the start of this week. That's how late it is. Like, especially since the start of this week, it's just been that. It's like, even if stuff isn't going well, it's like, no, it's going well, everything's going fantastic, my life is amazing, I am valued, God is fucking great, he is great, praise him. But it's like, I'm favored, like stuff's gonna come my way, I know it will, just give it time. It's flies are crazy over here as well. It's like it's just delayed gratification.
100%. And that delayed gratification goes such a long way in the long term. Like just in terms of building, and for us, bro, like we're still very young. We still got a lot to learn and a lot to build. Like the next
Mm.
5, 10 years are gonna just be insane. And whoever stays, I mean, not whoever stays. What's the quote by what James said? It's about who lasts longer, or
Yes.
do you? Yeah.
I don't know the quote, but it's literally just like outlasting everybody else. It's like when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Of course, and we're just gonna keep on going at it, bro.
Yes, sir. But it doesn't matter if there's a nuclear bomb that goes off, bro. Us people will find we'll find a way. There's always a silver lining.
Of course, bro. We'll just keep crushing it as always, as
Yes,
always.
sir.
You're gonna be crushing it. We're all gonna be crushing it, and we're all gonna be winning.
Yes, sir. Do you
Yeah,
usually leave these episodes on like a note? Is there anything like, or how do you usually finish off these?
we're still figuring that out. Still figuring that out. It's
Interesting.
only my
There's one
second
that I
one.
there's one that I
Mm-hmm.
like from Stephen Bartlett, and he always asks the guest, so me for example, to leave a question for the next person to answer at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the podcast. Did you
Okay.
ever see that?
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still in the trenches trying to figure this out. Like, to be
Mm.
honest with you. But for now, until we come up with something, let's do that. Let's do that. Do you have a question for the next guest that I should ask?
Ooh. Yeah, I was thinking of that, and then I actually kind of completely lost it. Let me think. If you could put yourself in a room with three people from history, who would it be and why? I think that's always a good one because people start to think deeply about that. Some people will want some bad people. They'd want to get some like, why did you do this? Some people want some like Genghis Khan or Sun Tzu, be like, why did you do this? Or some people just go full on bad shit crazy and just get in like Tiger Woods, and they get in like all the guys they love and just try and play golf with them. Like,
And since and since we don't have anyone to ask you a question,
mm,
how would you answer that question? Who are the three people?
Jesus. Um, I think I would have Genghis Khan definitely,
Hmm.
and um, who would I have in that room? Who'd be number three? Who's somebody who inspires me? Somebody from history. I think Michael Collins would be a good one. You wouldn't know who he
What?
is. He's
No.
he's the uh, he is the man who basically fought for Irish independence in 1920. Well, 1916 to 1922, and he was murdered in a civil war in 1923. So I definitely have him in there because I think to all Irish people who like history, he is he's Mecca, you know.
course, of course. I think that is super powerful, and I'm definitely gonna read up on that. And just final thoughts. Why those specific three people? If you could have them today give you advice on the business, your personal life, what advice do you think they would give you, and what would they tell you to focus more on?
Yeah, I think Jesus obviously would tell you to focus on you, focus on having faith, guidance, everything. I think that's super important. I think faith is super important in life. uh, Genghis Khan, how to be absolutely ruthless, how to be that killer instinct. I think that'd be something that he could teach you in terms of business. And Michael Collins then is just patience, persistence, and fighting for what's right. I think they're kind of like the main reasons. It's kind of different teachings from different people, but all along that one time frame, I think.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm so grateful to have you over here, bro. Like on the second pod, is it a podcast? Yeah, second
Oh,
podcast.
this is a pod,
This
brother.
chat.
This is the
It's many,
pod.
many more to come, and I hope that we have a lot more into the future. And I just want to say personally for me, thank you so much, bro, for sharing your time. It's been like an hour, 90 minutes, and
Let's
I
go.
know that you're only gonna crush it into the future and also just today, bro. So I'm super grateful, and just want everyone to just head over and show some love, connect with you on your social medias. You can just let everyone know on that, and just make sure to check out my dear friend Andrew's pages on Instagram, LinkedIn especially because I know you're super active on that. Do you have Twitter?
I do have Twitter actually. I'm starting to post a small bit more on it. I don't have a great following, but I feel like the more you post, the more you're gonna get.
Of course, of course. So make sure to just check him out on that, and I'll just drop the links in the description.
Let's go.
Any final words, final thoughts, or
Nah, brother. I think we covered everything. Just stay fucking persistent. Stay fighting,
let's go.
and get
Great,
these
bro.
flies out of my face. Let's go.
Thank you for your time, bro. Appreciate
No
you.
bothers, bro. It's a pleasure.
Peace.